Hello everyone, this is a series which is prepared to help you all prepare better for the BSG Introductory Exam Level 2. This is the exam which tries to help you to understand. This is kind of an exam which is not exactly an exam, but this is something which will help you to understand the concepts better. Think of it like a milestone. अगर आप ये वाला एग्ज़ाम ढंग से देंगे, if you prepare for that exam, ultimately आपको जो concepts हैं which you will be able to understand better, and ultimately ये concept आपको help करेंगे आपके practice में on day to day basis. With this intent, I have created the series. By the way, you can go to nichiringpt.com as well, where I have already published the entire set of quiz. I have also published the entire set of summary notes, and based on those summary notes only I have prepared the PPT. The intent of PPT is very simple, that whenever you want to, whenever you are on the go, or sometimes what happens कि आपको पढ़ के इतना समझ नहीं आता जितना वीडियो देख के समझ में आता है, right? That's why lot of leaders across India are also taking lot of lectures on this particular exam. With that intent only, I have thought of creating the slides and help you to understand the concept better. I'll keep it very concise, I'll keep it very focused to make you understand the concept. वो concept एक बार आपको समझ में आ जाएगा, उसके बाद उसको किस तरीके से हमें convert करना in the form of questions which will be expected in the exam, उसके लिए I have already created the summary, I have already created the quiz. तो अभी आपका फोकस बस ये होना चाहिए कि ये एग्जैक्टली ये टॉपिक है क्या, इस टॉपिक का फंडामेंटल क्या है, एंड व्हाट इज़ माय की टेक अवे. लेट्स अज्यूम एज अ प्रैक्टिसिंग मेंबर इफ समबडी आस्क यू कि व्हाट इज़ लोटस सूत्रा एंड हाउ इट इज़ डिफरेंट फ्रॉम अदर बुद्धिज़्म, would you be able to make that person understand? That is the most important essence which I want to cover through this series of videos. So let's start. First topic is introduction to the Lotus Sutra. So what exactly is Lotus Sutra? So Lotus Sutra is one of the many preachings of Gautam Buddha. What exactly happened is that when Gautam Buddha got the enlightenment, after the enlightenment he started preaching his teachings, right? As part of preaching his teachings, he kept on moving from one place to another, and as part of that, the people who were his disciples at that point of time, who were located at that particular place where he was preaching, they kept on making the notes, right? And they compiled it and said कि यार ये गौतम बुद्धा के teachings हैं. This is the way multiple set of books are available, and based on those books people started practicing, right? So when we say sutra, so this is one of the book which has been compiled based on the teachings of Gautam Buddha by their disciples, and this Lotus Sutra is one of the key scripture in Mahayana Buddhism, right? So Lotus Sutra, what is Lotus Sutra? Lotus Sutra is nothing but one of the book which was preached by Gautam Buddha. So Gautam Buddha, what he used to do, think of it like that modern day सत्संग इक्विवेलेंट, कि एक जगह पे गौतम बुद्धा बैठे हैं और बहुत सारे डिसाइपल्स उनको सुन रहे हैं, और जो सुन रहे हैं वो उसके नोट्स बनाए जा रहे हैं, एंड देन फाइनली सारे नोट्स को रिव्यू करके कंपाइल किया गया, कंपाइल करके एक बुक बनाई गई, उस बुक का नाम था लोटस सूत्रा. एंड लोटस सूत्रा इज ए वन ऑफ द की स्क्रिप्चर इन महायाना बुद्धिज़्म. नाउ क्वेश्चन कैन कम कि भाई महायाना बुद्धिज़्म क्या होता है. We will touch upon it later. I'll create a separate video. I don't want to distract you with multiple concepts. Now we are focusing on Lotus Sutra. Anyways, if just to give you summarize, एक होता है हीनयाना बुद्धिज़्म और एक होता है महायाना बुद्धिज़्म. याना means vehicle. So when we say Mahayana Buddhism, it means superior vehicle. Hinayana Buddhism means inferior vehicle. So let's stay it here till now. So first thing we understood कि Lotus Sutra is nothing but a book which was written and compiled by the disciples of Gautam Buddha based on the teaching which he gave, right? Now, what exactly is written in Lotus Sutra makes it, distinguished. It is something which was revolutionary at that point of time, and still it is revolutionary, right? सो क्या था ऐसा लोटस सूत्रा के अंदर कि दैट मेक्स इट द स्टैंडिंग आउट ऑफ ऑल द सूत्रास और ऑल द बुक्स which were compiled based on the Gautam Buddha's teaching. So there are few elements here. First element of Lotus Sutra was it emphasizes the universal potential for Buddhahood. It means what? When we say universal, it is something which is applicable for all. So Lotus Sutra ने emphasize किया that anyone and everyone, irrespective of their gender, depending on their caste, creed, no matter from where they belong to, everyone has a potential to become a Buddha. उससे पहले वाले जो अर्लियर टेक्स्ट थे, जो अर्लियर सूत्रास थे, उन्होंने बोला गया था कि एनलाइटमेंट केवल फ्यू लिमिटेड एंड फ्यू लोगों को ही मिल सकता है. सो थिंक ऑफ इट लाइक अ क्लब, थिंक ऑफ इट लाइक अ पास, कि अगर आपके पास ये पास है तो ही आप एंट्री कर सकते हो. उसके रिस्पेक्ट में लोटस सूत्रा ने बोला कि आप कुछ भी हो, नो मैटर हु यू आर, नो मैटर फ्रॉम वेयर यू बिलोंग, you have the potential to become Buddhahood, right? You have the potential to manifest the Buddhahood, right? Lotus Sutra taught that actually there is no gap exist. It's not like you are better than me or I am better than you, or by the way, based on my birth, based on my gender, there is a big gap between whether I'll be able to attain Buddhahood or not, right? So Lotus Sutra was revolutionary in a sense that Lotus Sutra में first time Gautam Buddha teaches that there does not exist any gap. Everyone has potential to attain enlightenment, right? It's just about people to recognize that hey, I also have the potential, and based on recognition, once you recognize that you can also attain Buddhahood, based on that recognition, you start manifesting it, you start bringing forth the Buddhahood by doing the right thing, right? So this is what the Lotus Sutra, this is how the Lotus Sutra was different from the other sutras, right? In a normal parlance, अगर मैं अपना एक एग्जाम्पल देना चाहूँ तो think of it like that कि जब हमें फिजिक्स पढ़ाया गया था when we were in school, तो हमें बेसिकली न्यूटन फिजिक्स पढ़ाया गया था which is called Newtonian physics, right? But we all know that Newtonian physics is good to understand, it is good to understand the fundamentals, but Newtonian physics doesn't get applied on day-to-day life. So there are a lot of other elements, there are a lot of other phenomena which cannot be explained with the help of Newtonian physics. After Newtonian physics, if you keep on reading physics, you will keep on understanding that apart from Newton physics, there is something called quantum physics as well, right? Which is the something which can explain all the phenomena. Similarly, जब शाक्यमुनि और गौतम बुद्धा ने प्रीच करना शुरू किया, सो थिंक ऑफ इट लाइक दैट कि जब उन्होंने प्रीच करना शुरू किया होगा तो उन्होंने तो एनलाइटमेंट प्राप्त कर लिया था, ही गॉट द एनलाइटमेंट. एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम उनका जो लेवल था वो इस लेवल पे बैठे थे, राइट? और जो उनके डिसाइपल्स थे जो उनसे ज्ञान लेना चाहते थे, हु वर परस्यूइंग द टीचिंग्स वर एट दिस लेवल. तो इतना ज़्यादा गैप था. तो उनके लिए सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम क्या आया था उस समय गौतम बुद्धा के लिए कि यार मैं इनको अगर एग्जैक्टली सीधा ही सारा ज्ञान दे दूंगा तो उनका लेवल ही नहीं है इतना समझने के लिए. तो उन्होंने क्या किया कि पहले उन्होंने एक्सपीडियंट मीन्स लगा के पहले उनको थोड़ा थोड़ा कॉन्सेप्ट समझा के उनको एक लेवल पर लेकर आए. वंस पीपल रीच एट अ सर्टेन लेवल, देन ही टॉट द रियल फंडामेंटल which he always wanted to talked about, right? Think of it like that कि अगर मुझे कैलकुलस आता है, मुझे इंटीग्रेशन करना, डिफ्रेंशिएशन करना आता है, एंड आई नो दिस इज़ द मोस्ट यूनिवर्सल वे ऑफ टीचिंग, और इंटीग्रेशन इज़ द मोस्ट एप्ट वे. अगर मुझे किसी को बताना है कि एरिया कैसे निकालते हैं बिटवीन द टू फिगर्स और बिटवीन द इफ़ आई हैव टू फाइंड द एरिया ऑफ एनी शेप, तो वो एरिया निकालने का बेस्ट तरीका इंटीग्रेशन कर लो. बट क्या हमें इंटीग्रेशन क्लास फर्स्ट में सेकंड में सिखाया गया था? नहीं. हमें इंटीग्रेशन सिखाया गया व्हेन वी रीच द क्लास 11th और 12th, बिकॉज एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम वी हैड द कैपेबिलिटी we had the aptitude to start making sense of this concept, right? So what did the teacher do before that? उन्होंने कहा कि यार एरिया निकालने के फॉर्मूला याद कर लो आप, स्क्वायर होगा, रेक्टेंगल होगा, सर्कल होगा, ट्रेपीजियम होगा, क्वाड्रिलेटरल होगा, तो सबके फॉर्मूले याद करा दिया करते थे हमें, राइट? तो उन्होंने बोला ये फॉर्मूले याद कर लो, इनसे काम चल जाएगा. बट जब हम क्लास 11th में आए, हमारे मैथ्स टीचर ने बोला कोई फॉर्मूला याद करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, केवल अगर आपको फंडामेंटली पता है कि मुझे इंटीग्रेशन करना है इस एरिया से इस एरिया के बीच में, तो मैं आपको एक ऐसा फॉर्मूला दे दूंगा, सिंगल फॉर्मूला, जिसकी मदद से इरिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ वेर एवर वॉट एवर फिगर यू वॉन्ट टू कैलकुलेट द एरिया, यू विल बी एबल टू डू दैट. Think of it like that, a key. That was like a key to solve all the problems with respect to the integration, right? Same thing happened in case of Gautam Buddha. जब गौतम बुद्धा ने देखा कि उनके disciples धीरे धीरे एक लेवल तक पहुंच गए हैं, now is the right time when he can teach them the right thing, when he can teach them the universal thing. At that point of time, he introduced his disciples who had the capability at that point of time to start making sense of this super powerful sutra, and that was Lotus Sutra. So just to recap, Lotus Sutra में गौतम बुद्धा ने कुछ revolutionary बातें बोली, ऐसी बातें बोली जो first time he was preaching. And what were these? These were that first of all, everyone has a potential to become Buddhahood. There is no gap between anyone. Everyone has the same potential. It's all about whether you can recognize that potential and whether you can be able to tap on and keep on working on yourself to bringing forth the Buddhahood, right? So that was the key essence of Lotus Sutra. Now we have already talked about, but let's look at what were the earlier pre-Lotus Sutra teachings were telling. So pre-Lotus Sutra teachings क्या कह रही थी? Pre-Lotus Sutra teachings कह रही थी कि that only certain individuals could attain Buddhahood. So it's like a limited कि boss, not everyone get it. There is only few people who can get the Buddhahood, right? That was the first pre-Lotus Sutra. The other was that even if you are chosen one, even if you are the few people or few individuals who can attain Buddhahood, it's not like that you can attain Buddhahood right now and right, then and then or there only. Attainment is a distinct goal. It is something you have to keep on working, not just one lifetime, multiple lifetimes you have to keep on working on yourself to attain the Buddhahood, right? You think of it like that, a step-wise structure, that this step-wise आपको बढ़ना पड़ेगा कि पहले एक स्टेप लिया, फिर दूसरा स्टेप लिया, ऐसे स्टेप लेकर फाइनली आप बुद्धाहुड तक पहुंचोगे. बट ये स्टेप लेने के लिए maybe you will take one lifetime or maybe more than one lifetime, and then only through a gradual you will be able to go to the finally attain Buddhahood. The other thing was कि once you attain Buddhahood, that means now you are, think of it like that, in the enlightened state, and when you reach at this level, at that point of time, all the other life state or will not exist. For example, if somebody is having an issue of anger or somebody has an issue of greed, तो पहले तो आपको वो ग्रीड वाला जो लाइफ वर्ल्ड है वो आपको एलिमिनेट करना पड़ेगा. मे बी वो ग्रीड का वर्ल्ड एलिमिनेट करने के लिए आपको लगेंगे 10 साल और मे बी 10 लाइफ टाइम, वॉट एवर. देन आप पहुंचोगे ग्रीड के बाद एनिमल, लेट्स अज्यूम आप एनिमैलिटी वाले में आ गए हो लाइफ स्टेट में. एनिमैलिटी वाली लाइफ स्टेट में अगेन इट विल टेक यू 2 लाइफ टाइम्स 3 लाइफ टाइम्स. So by keep on working on yourself, you are moving away from one world to another world, stepping up, ऐसे करके आप finally Buddhahood पे पहुँच गए. And when you are stepping up, what it means कि आपने greed वाले world को completely छोड़ दिया है. Now you will never go back to this world. If you have moved away from animality, then you have done and dusted with this particular world. Now you will never get this world, right? This is what the earlier pre-Lotus Sutra were telling, right? So you will have one world at a time, right? But we will talk about it, what exactly happens. So this is what the pre-Lotus Sutra teaching were telling. Now what Lotus Sutra told? Lotus Sutra told at that point of time, as we have already discussed, that everyone has a potential to achieve Buddhahood, and Buddhahood can be achieved in a single lifetime. It's not like something which you have to keep on pursuing for lifetimes again and again. Boss, आप इसी lifetime के अंदर Buddhahood achieve कर सकते हो. At the same time, Buddhahood is becoming more accessible because everyone can become Buddhahood. Unlike pre-Lotus Sutra जो कह रहे थे कि केवल कुछ ही selected लोग Buddhahood अचीव कर सकते हैं और अटेन कर सकते हैं. इवन उन लोगों को भी अटेन करने के लिए लाइफ टाइम लगेगा. उसके अगेंस्ट लोटस सूत्रा ने बोला कि everyone can attain Buddhahood and you can attain Buddhahood by the way in a single lifetime. There is also a concept which we will talk about later as part of our study, where we will talk about the 10 worlds, mutual possession of 10 worlds and 10 factors of life, right? Now, so basically this is the teaching which democratized spiritual attainment, making it accessible to all people. So that was the power of Lotus Sutra. Think of it like that. I have put some examples to make you understand that actually this is one of the story in Lotus Sutra as well. Jewel in the rope karke there is a story. So basically there was a one guy who was very poor and he had one friend who was very rich, right? So one day a rich friend visited his poor friend and he saw the condition, and before leaving, the rich friend put one some gold coins or some diamond or some jewel in the robe, in the robe of that poor person. Now poor person didn't know that he already had this many money sitting in his robe. He kept on lamenting, he kept on living the life in a poor form. Ultimately, maybe after a few years, he able to understand that, hey, I was rich all throughout this time, and because when he checked his pocket, he realized that he already had this much of gold and jewelry and jewel, and he can he's actually rich. But for a long period of time, even after his friend left, he kept on living his life in a very in a poor way. So what exactly it means? It means that what exactly this example is trying to say? This example is trying to say that we all have a hidden treasure. We all have a hidden treasure in us, right? It's all about recognizing. It's all about acknowledging. It's all about tapping on that treasure and tapping on that treasure and keep on getting benefited from it. How would you tap on that treasure? You can tap on that treasure with the help of a special tools. If you have special tools and if you have the zeal to keep on working on yourself, then Buddhahood is something which is very much for you, right? It's all about finding the treasure within yourself. And how to find that treasure? You will find that treasure when you understand the true aspect of all phenomena. So what exactly is true aspect of all phenomena? We will understand in the coming slides. So this is another example. Many a times when we see someone who is playing fantastic guitar or flute or any other musical instrument, or playing, for example, football or cricket, like anything, and we say कि यार ये तो यही कर सकता है यार, मैं नहीं कर सकता. But we have to understand that that person has really used the right tools and put lot of efforts. And अगर वही efforts and if I have the right exposure, if I have the right tools, तो यार मैं भी कर सकता हूँ. I can also learn that skill. If I am ready to put maybe a year to understand, learn the guitar, then I can also play the guitar, right? It's all about first of all acknowledging and understanding that you also have the potential to do so, and then putting the efforts, right? So that is what it is if you have to really attain Buddhahood in this lifetime. Now we will talk about true aspect of all phenomena. What exactly this phrase means? This is one of the beautiful phrase, one of my favorite phrase in Lotus Sutra. True aspect of all phenomena. When you understand this concept, then the way you perceive, the way you look, the world will completely change. So let's understand what is true aspect of all phenomena. So before going to true aspect of all phenomena, let's understand what exactly, where exactly it was preached in the Lotus Sutra. It was preached in the first 14 chapter of the Lotus Sutra. So Lotus Sutra is like, think of it like that. Lotus Sutra के अंदर total 28 chapters हैं. Okay. Lotus Sutra जो book है, which is available, by the way, I would recommend. Sensei has written at least for the second and 16th chapter, that is what I have read. The Sensei's lectures on Lotus Sutra, Sensei's lecture on second and 16th chapter are fantastic. I would highly recommend everyone to go and read it. But just for the knowledge of everyone, Lotus Sutra has total 28 chapters. 28 chapters को divide किया गया है first 14 chapter के अंदर and लास्ट 14 चैप्टर के अंदर. सो ये आपका चैप्टर्स हो गए 15 to 28 और ये चैप्टर हो गए 1st to 14. ओके, नाउ 1st to 14 चैप्टर्स को बोला जाता है थियोरेटिकल टीचिंग, विच वी हैव रिटन हेयर. So 1st to 14 chapters are called theoretical teaching, and 15 to 28 chapters are called essential teaching, right? And 1st to 14 chapter के अंदर जो सबसे important chapter है, I won't say, मतलब every chapter is important, but the chapter which is important is second chapter, and in 15 to 28 जो chapter सबसे ज़्यादा important है हमारे लिए वो है 16 chapter. By the way, जो आप गोंग्यो करते हैं, मतलब वी ऑल डू गोंग्यो, राइट, मॉर्निंग एंड इवनिंग. तो मॉर्निंग एंड इवनिंग गोंग्यो के अंदर हम कर क्या रहे होते हैं? मॉर्निंग एंड इवनिंग गोंग्यो में एक्चुअली में देयर आर सम पोर्शन ऑफ लोटस सूत्रा फ्रॉम थियोरेटिकल टीचिंग एंड इसेंशियल टीचिंग, वो ही हम डिसाइड करते हैं. तो सेकेंड चैप्टर एक्सपीडियंट मीन्स है, 16 चैप्टर है लाइफ स्पैन चैप्टर, उनके ही कुछ पोर्शन है जिसको हम रिसाइट करते हैं एवरी मॉर्निंग एंड इवनिंग. सो we are actually reciting Lotus Sutra morning and evening as well as part of our Gongyo exercise, right? Now, this concept of true aspect of all phenomena is part of the theoretical teaching, which is nothing but the first 14 chapter of the Lotus Sutra. This is something which can be helpful in the exam as well. And precisely true aspect of all phenomena was taught in the expedient means chapter, right? Now, what exactly true aspect of all phenomena means? Let's break it up. True aspect and all phenomena. So true aspect का मतलब है ultimate reality or true essential nature of and phenomena means something which is around us. So whatever is around you, wherever you are, in whatever situation or circumstances or environment you are, so whatever is happening around you, right? And if the extension of it is what is happening around all of us in the world, that is called phenomena. Very simple to understand, right? So whatever is happening in my neighborhood, whatever is happening in my life, in my family and society and then city and then nation and the world, all these are the phenomena which is happening around me. Now, whatever is happening around me is because of the true aspect. And what exactly a true aspect is? It is the true essential nature of workings. It's a true aspect of the ultimate reality, right? It may sound a bit theoretical, It's part of theoretical, by the way, teaching as well, but it is very powerful. When you start understanding कि आपकी लाइफ में जो कुछ भी हो रहा है उसका जो फंडामेंटल नेचर है, वॉट एवर इज हैपनिंग इज बिकॉज ऑफ द अल्टीमेट रियलिटी. एंड वॉट एग्जैक्टली इज अल्टीमेट रियलिटी? अल्टीमेट रियलिटी इज नम्यो रेंगे क्यों. So everything is getting governed by Namyo Renge Kyo, whatever is happening around you, right? And that is the ultimate reality or true essential nature of all phenomena around you. It also means that no matter wherever you are, whatever you are doing, no matter which part of the world you are, ultimately everything is connected. Everything is interconnected. Have you heard about something called butterfly effect? So what butterfly effect also says that the flap of the butterfly, flipping in one part of the world can create impact on the other part of the world, right? It can happen that flapping of the butterfly on one part of the world can create storm on the other part of the world, right? We have seen multiple examples of it. For example, somebody, COVID is one of the example that something happening in one part of the world impacted the entire world. One person standing for the humanity, Daisaku Ikeda, Dr. Daisaku Ikeda, our mentor, has totally changed the way Nichiren Daishonin Buddhism was taught and Nichiren Daishonin Buddhism was propagated throughout the world, right? So everything is connected. Everything has fundamentally essential nature is Namyo Renge Kyo, and by looking at it, when you start looking everything from that perspective, you will feel more empowered. You will be able to understand why this is happening and how it is happening. We will touch on it more. Let's understand it more. So Nichiren Daishonin explained that true aspect is nothing but Namyo Renge Kyo, and all phenomena basically means people who are living in the 10 worlds, right? So essentially every world, so we know that concept of 10 worlds, we studied it. In case you want to refer it, you can go back to my YouTube videos to understand the 10 worlds again. However, 10 world is a concept which talks about the 10 life states. No matter whether you are in hell, hunger, anger, animality, tranquility, humanism, learning, realization, bodhisattva, Buddhahood, whatever life state you are in, ultimately life state also contains Namyo Renge Kyo. Even the hell life state has a Namyo Renge Kyo in it, right? So Namyo Renge is something which is pervading. It is embodiment of every living being, no matter what life state they are. Every living being is embodiment of Namyo Renge Kyo. In short, this is what the meaning of true aspect of all phenomena, that no matter who you are, wherever you are, if you are a living being, no matter which life state you are in, you are embodiment of Namyo Renge Kyo, right? Let's look at the concept of some examples I have put to make you understand. Look at the example of ice and water. For people who don't understand, or people who are naive, or maybe for a child, water and ice could be different. They can see and perceive that ice is something which is solid, which is highly cold, and water is something which is very fluid, and it may be cold, it may not be, right? However, for the person who understand the phenomena, for them ice and water are nothing but different manifestation of same H2O, right? H2O से ही आपका H2O को हमने फ्रीज किया तो हमारा आइस बन गया, और अगर हमने H2O को थोड़ा वार्म किया तो हमारा पानी बन गया, और H2O को ही हमने अगर बॉईल कर दिया तो हमारा स्टीम बन गया, करेक्ट? सो but fundamentally, whether it's ice, whether it's water, whether it's steam, and ultimately steam will go and get cooled down, it evaporates and become cloud, and cloud से फिर दोबारा क्या आएगा, बारिश आएगी. So ultimately, no matter whatever form it is, the true aspect of all of these elements is nothing but water. Same goes, no matter whether I am in hell life state, hunger, anger, animality, humanity, whatever life state I am in, fundamentally everything boils down to the true aspect of nature. which is nothing but Namyo Renge Kyo, right? So that is the meaning of this example. The other example I have put is mirror reflection. So think of it like that. If you are standing in front of mirror, you will see yourself, right? Or whosoever is sitting, getting in front of mirror will see themselves. Depending on the people, the reflection would be different. However, fundamentally mirror is something which is same. Similarly, this is keep on changing. The people are keep on changing, right? And these are keep on changing. So this think of it like that. The different life state which are changing, but the fundamental is nothing but mirror, which is nothing but Namyo Renge Kyo. Got it? I hope I am able to make sense and you are able to understand the true aspect of all phenomena. Similarly, the thread in the fabric. You may be wearing something, maybe I'm wearing t-shirt, or maybe somebody is wearing woolen clothes. Whatever you are wearing, from the overall perspective, it is a piece of cloth. However, fundamentally, everything is made of a thread, right? Fundamentally. Similarly, the person can be from any background, person can be in any life state, but fundamentally, at a fundamental level, everyone is nothing but embodiment of Namyo Renge Kyo, the true aspect of all phenomena. And Lotus Sutra already told that if you start working on yourself, if you have the right tools and you want to, persevere, then you can become Buddhahood. You can attain Buddhahood, and not in far fetch away world, but you can do the same in this life itself, right? And this is the fundamental purpose of Buddhism as well. Fundamental purpose of Buddhism is what? Fundamental purpose of Buddhism, as Shakyamuni Buddha has told in Lotus Sutra, is to make all persons equal to me without any distinction between us. Open the door to Buddha wisdom, show and awaken people to Buddha wisdom, guide all to enter the path of Buddha wisdom. That is the key purpose of Buddhism. That is the key purpose of Lotus Sutra. This is a comparison. I am just trying to summarize whatever we have learned till now, right? So we have talked about attainment of Buddhahood. Lotus Sutra says that everyone can attain Buddhahood in this lifetime. People from two vehicles, people can also attain Buddhahood. Pre-Lotus Sutra says that only typically, people like monk can attain Buddhahood, that too after multiple lifetimes. Buddhahood is available and inherently present in all living beings. However, the pre-Lotus Sutra used to say that Buddhahood is something which is a distinct goal. You have to keep on practicing on yourself to get to that life state. It is available for everyone. It is not available for everyone. You have to gradually move towards the path, and something which you can do right away. Lotus Sutra talked about the inclusivity. Even the evil people, even the people, lay persons who are living their day-to-day life, as a lay persons, have the potential to attain Buddhahood. Women can attain Buddhahood. In the pre-Lotus Sutra, it was categorically mentioned that women cannot attain Buddhahood, right? And how to attain? The spiritual practice is what Nichiren Darshan also talked about, is that practice of chanting. When you chant, you start able to manifest your Buddhahood. However, the earlier practice were focusing more on meditation, ethical conduct, seclusion, going to salvation and all, right? So these are the key difference from Lotus Sutra and pre-Lotus Sutra teaching. Now, the other concept in Lotus Sutra is attainment of Buddhahood in the remote past. Very important concept. Let's look at this concept. What this concept is saying, that, so we have talked about what? We have talked about that theoretical teachings are what? Lotus Sutra के 28 chapter में से first 14 chapters are called theoretical teaching, and the last 14 chapters, 15 to 28 chapters are called essential teaching. Second chapter name is expedient means. Second chapter के अंदर Lotus Sutra में Shakyamuni Buddha talked about true aspect of all phenomena, and in the 16th chapter of Lotus Sutra, part of essential teaching, Shakyamuni Buddha talked about attainment of Buddhahood in the remote past. ये कॉन्सेप्ट आया था हमारा 16 चैप्टर के अंदर, लाइफ स्पैन चैप्टर के अंदर, राइट। नाउ इन दिस चैप्टर फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम शक्यामुनि बुद्धा रिवील्ड कि मेरे को जो एनलाइटमेंट मिला है, उन लोगों को लगता है कि मेरे को एनलाइटमेंट मिला है बोधि ट्री पे इस जन्म में, जब मैं शक्या क्लाइन के अंदर गौतम सिद्धार्थ की तरह मैं पैदा हुआ, फिर मैंने परस्यू किया, फाइनली मेरे को अंडर बोधि ट्री आई गॉट एनलाइटमेंट। लोगों को ऐसा लगता है, बट शक्यामुनि बुद्धा ने फर्स्ट टाइम ये सबको रिवील किया कि बॉस मेरे को एनलाइटमेंट इस लाइफ में नहीं मिला है, बट मेरे को तो एनलाइटमेंट डिस्टेंट पास्ट में ही मिल गया था, ठीक है। इट मीन्स कि मेरे में एनलाइटमेंट इवन व्हेन आई वाज गौतम बुद्धा, उस समय भी मेरे अंदर बुद्धाहुड था, राइट। और पिछले जन्म में, उससे पहले वाले 5 जन्म में भी मेरे अंदर बुद्धाहुड था। इट्स नॉट समथिंग विच आई हैव गॉट आफ्टर वर्किंग फॉर सो लॉन्ग एंड परस्यूइंग इट एंड बिकेम बुद्धा फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम। इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट। मैं डिस्टेंट पास्ट में ही मेरे को एनलाइटमेंट मिल गया था। इट बेसिकली मीन्स वॉट? इट बेसिकली मीन्स कि बुद्धाहुड जो लाइफ स्टेट है वो एक ऐसी स्टेट है जो हमेशा से प्रेजेंट रही थी, इवन इन गौतम सिद्धार्थ, राइट। बट बाय यूजिंग द राइट टूल, बाय परस्यूइंग, उन्होंने इस लाइफ टाइम में उसको मैनिफेस्ट किया। बट वो पहले से ही वो जो थे इटर्नल बुद्धा है, वो पहले से ही उनको एनलाइटमेंट मिला हुआ था, ठीक है। एनलाइटमेंट ऐसा नहीं है कि कोई सिंगल इवेंट है। इट ऑल्सो अटेनमेंट ऑफ बुद्धाहुड इन रिमोट पास्ट ऑल्सो मीन, ऐसा नहीं है कि वो एक सिंगल इवेंट हुआ था कि वो बोधि ट्री के नीचे बैठे थे और उनको यहाँ पे बैठ के मिल गया था। ऐसा कोई सिंगल इवेंट नहीं है, बट एक ऐसा चीज़ है जो हमेशा से प्रेजेंट रहा है ऑल ह्यूमन बीइंग्स के अंदर, एंड एवरीवन हैज़ अ पोटेंशियल टू अटेन इट, राइट। दिस मीन्स दैट लाइफ स्टेट ऑफ बुद्धाहुड एंड अदर 9 वर्ड्स वर ऑलवेज प्रेजेंट। तो बेसिकली उनके जो पास्ट लाइफ में भी अटेनमेंट ऑफ बुद्धाहुड इन द रिमोट पास्ट बेसिकली मीन्स कि ये बुद्धाहुड जो एक लाइफ स्टेट है, वो बुद्धाहुड लाइफ स्टेट हमेशा से प्रेजेंट रही है। जब उनके अंदर हेल्थ था, जब वो हंगर में थे, जब वो स्ट्रेस में थे, जब वो सैड थे, उस समय भी उनके अंदर बुद्धाहुड मौजूद था, राइट। एंड दैट्स द बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ म्यूचुअल पोजेशन ऑफ 10 वर्ल्ड्स, करेक्ट। एंड as an expedient means I appear to enter nirvana, but in truth I do not pass into extinction. That is what Gautam Buddha has said in Lotus Sutra, that दिखाने के लिए, just to make sure people able to understand कि ये जो जीवन लाइफ साइकिल होती है कैसे होती है, I keep on doing I keep on showing कि मैं अभी निर्वाणा में चला गया हूँ, but I was never went into nirvana, I was always present. This is something which many people can relate in terms of our Hindu mythology also. We talked about कृष्ण जी आए थे, राम आए थे, they came, उन्होंने राम लीला रची, and then they went away, but they never went away anywhere. They are they just manifested for some time being for that particular body, and then ultimately fundamentally they were omnipresent. They were always present, and everywhere they are present. Similarly, Gautam Buddha is also saying, Shakyamuni Buddha also saying that I appear to enter nirvana, but I never went anywhere. I was always there. It means that life state, it is not the person, it's the life state. The life state of Buddhahood was always present. It's not that I discovered it for the first time. It was always present, right? That is the meaning of Buddhahood in the remote past. ठीक है, that from the distant past till the limitless future, everyone will, whatever life state I had, everyone also had, and everyone will also have in the future as well. That is essentially meaning of this concept of attainment of Buddhahood in the remote past, right? Now think of it like that. A few examples to make you understand this concept. One is the ancient book. So it may happen that there is a book which contains lot of knowledge, but that was hidden somewhere. However, after lot of multiple centuries, it got discovered, and through this we are able to get the wisdom which was buried for multiple centuries. So it's not like that wisdom was not there. Wisdom was always there. That book was always present, and that book was present for many centuries. It's just that it got discovered. Similarly, Buddhahood is something which was not that it was discovered for the first time. It was always present in the Shakyamuni Buddha and everyone, and it continued to be in all the life forms. It's just that for that particular life state, it got discovered, right? The other example is, sun behind the cloud. So maybe when it's a very shiny day, we can see the sun. However, on a cloudy day, we are not able to see the sun, right? Or think of it like that, when in the night, when from day we migrate to night, we think that sun is not there. However, it's not like, sun is always there. Even at night time, sun is always there. Even when it's cloudy day, it's not that sun has disappeared. Sun was always there. Similarly, it's not like that Buddhahood was something which was discovered. It was always present. It was manifested in this lifetime by the Gautam Buddha, right? Now, this is my favorite example to make you understand, what exactly the discovery or invention, the difference between discovery and invention, right? So, gravity is something which was discovered by Newton, correct? But does it mean that before Newton discovered the phenomena of gravity, the gravity was not existing? No, it was not like that. Gravity was always there. It's just that Newton was able to understand that phenomena, able to quantify it in the form of a formula, that G equals to constant m1 m2 by r square, correct? So ultimately this is the final manifestation of gravity, that ultimately he able to understand this phenomena, able to make sense of it and quantify it in the form of a formula, right? That is what Newton did. It doesn't mean that gravity was not present before Newton was there, or gravity will not be there after Newton. Gravity was always present. It just got discovered. Similarly, the other concepts, whether it's aerodynamics, whether it's electricity, quantum mechanics, or solar system, right? That Galileo used to say that sun is the center of the universe, our solar system. The people of that time used to think that Earth was the center of the solar system, and a lot of dispute was there. And ultimately, after many centuries, it was discovered that Galileo was right. Similarly, the concept of aerodynamics, was discovered by Wright brothers. But it was not like that. That before Wright brothers, this aerodynamics phenomena was not existing. It was always existing, right? Similar to theory of relativity, which talked about the concept of E equal to mc square. This concept was discovered by Einstein, but it's not like that. The theory of relativity, the phenomena was not existing before that. What these fantastic scientists have done, they able to see the true nature of this particular phenomena which are happening. In case of Newton, he was able to understand the phenomena of gravity. In the case of Wright brothers, they able to understand the phenomena of aerodynamics. And similarly, in case of Einstein, he is able to understand the concept of theory of relativity. And not just they able to understand, but they able to distill down the entire teaching into a formula. The formula which you and me, even if we don't understand the entire science behind it, if we know this formula, we will be able to make the best use of it, make the same benefit. Even if somebody do the research, ultimately they will come down to this formula only. Similarly, what Gautam Buddha is saying, that it's not like that Buddhahood is something I have invented. He discovered in this lifetime. However, this Buddhahood state of life was always present from past, distant past, and it continues to be available for everyone in the future as well. That is the meaning of attainment of Buddhahood in the remote past. That also means that even if you are in the world of hell, even if you are in the world of hunger or anger, you will have that Buddhahood life state always present. That is the meaning of mutual possession of 10 worlds, right? What Nichiren Daishonin did on top of it is, he quantified the Lotus Sutra in the form of a formula. Even when you read the entire Lotus Sutra and you want to distill and get the benefits of that Lotus Sutra, you will need a formula. Similar to Newton, Wright brothers and Einstein, which put formula. Similarly, Nichiren Daishonin also distilled down the entire teaching of this Lotus Sutra in a formula. If we able to use this formula, we will be able to harness the same number of benefits, same benefits, which if you apply the formula of gravity, you will be able to get the right answer for gravity. If you put the right formula for E equal to mc square theory of relativity, similarly if you use a phenomena formula of Namyo Renge Kyo, you will be able to use the right benefits from Namyo Renge Kyo. Just like Newton discovered the true aspect of falling, just like Wright brothers understood the true aspect of flying, similarly Einstein able to understand the true aspect of relativity. Similarly, Gautam Buddha and ultimately Nichiren Daishonin able to understand the true aspect of all phenomena, no matter what phenomena is happening around you, right? This is what the meaning of this particular example, right? Now, what is the implication of this teaching? So we have already seen how Lotus Sutra was revolutionary, and what ultimately it implies. When we say attainment of Buddhahood in the remote past, it basically means that it is not a distant goal, but it is something which is inherent state within, and if we start encouraging and recognizing, we can actualize the Buddhahood in everyday life, right? Just to summarize everything, Shakyamuni's enlightenment was something he attained in the remote past. Other sutra talked about that he is the one who attained the enlightenment in this lifetime only as part of Shakya clan. That's why we call him Shakyamuni. Eternal nature of Buddhahood. Buddhahood is something which is eternal and accessible for all. Other sutras talked about that it is something you will get after extensive practice. He revealed the revelation of Buddha's true nature, that Buddha's true nature, and reveals Buddha's eternal nature, showing that all beings can access this timeless state. Other sutra focused on historical Buddha's life teaching without emphasizing the eternal aspect of Buddha. Eternal aspect is the keyword here, right? So Buddha is eternal in nature, not historical figure. It's not something which has happened for the first time, or it is not going to happen again, right? That's why we say it history, something which has happened in the past. But when we say eternal or something which is in the distant past and always available, that means it's a phenomena which is something which going to happen and in the limitless future as well. What is the implication for practitioner? Practitioners are encouraged to realize their inherent Buddhahood, which has always existed. However, in the other sutra, practitioners are taught to strive towards Buddhahood through gradual progress and moral डिसिप्लिन. सो धीरे धीरे आगे बढ़ो, 1 लाइफ लो, 5 लाइफ लो, 10 लाइफ लो, उस तरीके से कॉन्सेप्ट होता था. सो विद दिस वी हैव कंप्लीटेड अवर फर्स्ट टॉपिक ऑफ लोटस सूत्रा, where we talked about 2 most important concepts taught in 2nd chapter and the 16th chapter. In the 2nd chapter, expedient means, which is part of the first 14th chapter theoretical teaching, we talked about true aspect of all phenomena. Then we talked about from the lifespan chapter, 16th chapter, we talked about attainment of Buddhahood in the remote past. I hope that this is something which will really deepen your study. You will be able to understand the concept better, and irrespective of whatever happens in the exam, ultimately you are able to apply this concept in your real life. Apart from this, I would suggest if you go to nichirengpt.com, this is the link, nichirengpt.com. By going here, you will be able to not just get the videos which you are seeing right now, but you are able to see the quizzes for each of the topic, and you will be able to see the notes, summary notes. All the quiz and notes are created after multiple reading and after going through the mandatory book again and again. So you can rest assured these quiz and notes are based on the book. Go through the book, no doubt, but this can help you to get the kind of on the go if you want to revise your concept. Apart from that, I'm also working on some AI elements which will get published by end of this month, with the help of which think of it like a chat bot where you can ask any question, whether it's from Gosho, whether it's from any Buddhist concept, and you will be able to get the answers then and there. It will help you to really strengthen your faith, able to strengthen your, deepen your understanding. So thank you so much. Looking to see you in the next video.